The inspiring true story of American Olympian Dan Jansen. I love inspiring stories. They make us feel great. But beyond that, they also show us what's possible when we set our mind to something and maybe even make us feel more capable of reaching our own goals when we see someone who's overcome such incredible challenges to succeed. And this story that I'm sharing with you today is one that I'll personally never forget, even though it has nothing to do with me or anyone I know, but I'm always going to remember it because I was actually traveling when it happened. And I woke up at my hotel and I opened my door and there was a newspaper right outside my door in the hall with a huge photo on the front. That was so amazing. I still remember it to this day. And that was all the way back in 1994. So today, we're diving into the remarkable and emotional journey of one of the greatest speed skaters in history, Dan Jansen. From personal trials to Olympic tribulations, his story is truly one for the ages. So if we start at the very beginning, Dan Jansen was born on June 17, 1965 in West Allis, a suburb of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. He was the youngest of 9 children and the son of a police officer and a nurse. He started ice skating at 4 years old, and his sister Jane later introduced him to speed skating. Now, in case you aren't familiar with speed skating, it's a thrilling sport where competitors race each other in a counterclockwise direction around an oval track. And it requires tremendous strength, speed, and concentration to be good at it. And Dan Jansen really took to it. He seemed to have real natural talent. He began winning competitions at a really early age, and he kept training and skating with the hopes of one day being in the Olympics. He even set a junior world record in the 500-meter race at age 16. In 1984, his training and dedication paid off. He qualified for his first Olympics in Sarajevo, Yugoslavia. He finished 16th in the 500 meters and was tenths of a second from winning a bronze medal in the 1,000. The speed skating community took note of the newcomer, and they saw him as a rising talent in the sport and a potential future gold medal contender. In 1987, a year before his next Olympic Games in Calgary, Canada, Dan's sister Jane was diagnosed with leukemia. He was devastated and considered stopping his training to help with his sister's medical care. But Jane and the rest of his family encouraged him to keep going. They didn't want him to give up on his skating. By the next Olympics in Calgary 1988, Jansen had progressed so far in the sport, he was the gold medal favorite in the 500 meters, and it looked like he was going to realize the dream he imagined as a boy. Then, on February 14th, the day of the 500-meter race, he learned that his 27-year-old sister Jane, the same sister that introduced him to the sport, encouraged him to become a speed skater, and had been so influential in his speed skating career, had died of leukemia. Dan's family encouraged him to keep going and to compete in the race later that day anyway. With a heavy heart, he took the ice. Jansen false started. And then, seconds into the race, he fell during the first turn, colliding with the Japanese skater. His dreams of 500-meter gold were gone. Several days later, he competed in the 1,000-meter race, and after a record-breaking start, he fell again. The story made headlines everywhere, and the collective heart of all Americans was breaking for him. He lost his sister at just 27 and fell twice in races he had trained for decades and was the favorite to bring home a gold medal. Thousands of letters of sympathy and encouragement poured in for him. So it was 4 more years of training, sacrifice, and hard work leading up to the 1992 Olympics in Albertville, France. He again came in as one of the favorites, but again went home disappointed, finishing 4th in the 500 meters and 26th in the 1,000 meters. He was still a top competitor, but was just unable to win it in the Olympics. He knew his window for winning was closing, and age was catching up to him, making it difficult to compete at the Olympic level much longer. So he decided the next Olympics in Lillehammer, Norway in 1994 would be his last. Jansen's best event and the only one he was given a chance of winning was the 500 meter. Unfortunately, in that year's Olympics in Lillehammer, Norway, he finished in 8th place, and he thought his chances of ever winning an Olympic medal were over. He still had the 1,000-meter race, the last race of his Olympic career, yet to compete in. But he was not considered a favorite, and it was a long shot for him to medal. On February 18th, Jansen took the Olympic ice for the last time in his career. A career that spanned decades of hard work, many national championships, training, sacrifice, and heartbreak. He finished the 1,000 meters in 1:12:43, won the gold medal, and broke the world record. Jansen took a victory lap around the ice, carrying his young daughter Jane, named for his late sister, and he was chosen by his fellow Olympians to bear the U.S. flag at the closing ceremony of the 1994 Winter Olympics. That picture, the one of Dan taking a victory lap with his daughter and draped in the American flag around his shoulders, was the front page photo on that newspaper outside my hotel room door, and I've never forgotten it to this day. His story is a powerful lesson about perseverance. Despite the odds, despite the setbacks, Jansen never gave up. He once said, "You don't give up and you don't quit. You never know how close you are to your goal." The takeaway here is that you should keep chasing your dreams. And remember, it's not about how many times you fall, but it's about how many times you get back up.